guys, if you're new to Deception Bites, hit the like and subscribe button and be sure to hit the bell to be notified of future videos. If you wish to support the channel, the links are in the description below. Now, fasten your seatbelt. Here we go. Hey, I'm back, and it is Wednesday, September 18th, and it is 10:17 p.m. Getting another late start tonight, but better late than never. So let's get to it. I don't have anyone to thank today. I didn't get any, no coffee, no Patreon, no mail. Was it something I said? Anyway, I'm over it. No, really, I am. So we're going to move on to the news now, Q-related news, and we've always got plenty of that. So let's get started, and I should have forwarded this to the place that I wanted to start, but of course I didn't. And I'm going to start with the most important news that will make you happy. It's already made me happy, but if you haven't heard, I might as well be the one to break the good news to you. So let's take a look. Now, I'm just going to, this kind of feels like it's far away. Now, I've had some complaints in the past about thumping noises and so forth with the microphone. So let me know if you guys are having trouble with anything. Let me know, because I don't know unless you tell me. So I assume everything's okay unless somebody says something. Anyway, let's get on to the good news. Yeah. I don't know what the cat's doing, but I don't know. All right, statement from the press secretary, and this was issued on September 17th. It was issued yesterday, but I just heard it today. Your nails are sharp, little guy. At the request of a number of committees of Congress and for reasons of transparency, the president has directed the Office of the Director of National Intelligence and the Department of Justice, including the FBI, to provide for the immediate classification of the following materials. 1. Pages 10 to 12 and 17 to 34 of the June 2017 application to the FISA court in the matter of Carter W. Page. I really wish he'd stop that. It's getting annoying. So, all right. All FBI reports and interviews with Bruce G. Orr prepared in connection with the Russia investigation, and 3. All FBI reports of interviews prepared in connection with all Carter Page FISA applications. In addition, I said, in addition, President Donald J. Trump has directed the Department of Justice, including the FBI, to publicly release all text messages relating to the Russia investigation without redaction of James Comey, Andrew McCabe, Peter Strzok, Lisa Page, and Bruce Orr. Won't that be fun? No, really, won't it? Oh, and I bet you those people are having strokes tonight. Really. So this is extremely, extremely good news. Okay, now you're going to have to get down, Xander, because this is getting ridiculous. You're distracting. I know you're cute, and I know people want to look at you back there, but I don't want your little nails digging into my neck. It's the chain. He's like obsessed with, he runs off with my jewelry all the time, so I have to keep it, away, because he will run off with it, and I'll catch him with a chain, and I'll be like, no, and then he'll grab it and run because he knows that I'm going to take it away from him. He's like always running away with my earrings, my necklaces. I don't know. He's a very strange cat. All right, enough of that. Enough of the cat talk, because I know you didn't come here to hear about my cat. So anyway, let's go back now, because there's more interesting news to get to. Yes, even more interesting news. Not as interesting, not as good of news, but it's interesting nonetheless. So let's take a look at this. Maybe let's take a look at it. What is wrong here? Well, it's not letting me click on it. Oh, there it goes. It has its own mind, just like my cats. All right, Kevin Spacey, sex assault accuser, dead. Well, isn't that convenient? Wait a minute, didn't the last accuser of Kevin Spacey die too? Yeah, I think they did. Coincidence, I'm sure. All right, well, let's look into this, shall we? The massage therapist who sued Kevin Spacey for sexual assault has died, according to court records. Lawyers for Spacey filed a notice of statement noting plaintiff's death in the federal case on Tuesday. They said they were informed on September 11th that the masseur had recently passed. So convenient. No further information or details have been given to Mr. Fowler's counsel, but plaintiff's counsel stated that they intended to notify the court with additional information at an appropriate time in the future, the filing said, referring to Spacey by his real name, Kevin Fowler. I think Kevin Fowler treats, suits him a little better, if you ask me, because he is pretty foul. And he's as a visitor on that special island that we've talked so much about. That's right. So let's see here. The massage therapist who filed his suit as an anonymous John Doe has claimed he was attacked by the American Beauty actor 2 years ago during a massage session in Malibu. I believe it. Spacey, 60, allegedly twice grabbed the masseur's hand and guided it to his private parts, the suit said. The Oscar winner was also accused of grabbing the alleged victim's shoulders in an attempt to kiss him and trying to fondle his genitals. Spacey also allegedly asked to perform a sex act on the massage therapist, causing him to bolt from the session. The lawsuit could not be continued by the therapist's estate in the wake of his death, which was first reported by the Hollywood Reporter. So naturally, now the lawsuit can't go anywhere because, the complainant is dead. Yeah, and funny how the last complainant died too. I think he was hit by a car, wasn't he? Yeah, seems to be. I remember that. Oh, very fascinating. I'm sure it's just a coincidence, right? Sorry. All right. Now, I wanted to see if there was anything else down here, but my computer is having a mind of its own tonight. I don't know. So lawyers for the man didn't immediately return emails. Spacey has been accused by more than a dozen men of sexual misconduct. In July, sexual assault charges in Massachusetts involving an 18-year-old man were dropped. Yeah. Was that the man that died? Because seems to me the last accuser died, but we're going to look into this a little bit more. So let's just continue here. Get rid of that and come back here. And let's look at this, first of all, which I think is interesting. You may not. Yeah, you will. You will. Jewish deplorable, May, Kevin Spacey accuser, hit by a car and dies. July 2nd accuser mysteriously drops lawsuit. Today, another accuser dies, unknown cause. Does Hollywood think we're this stupid? Yeah. Not only Hollywood, but the media thinks we're that stupid. Oh, I don't know. Must be a coincidence. Yeah. So May, the guy is hit by a car and dies. He's the first accuser. Second accuser, he just mysteriously drops the lawsuit, probably because he was told, if you don't drop the lawsuit, you might be hit by a car too. And then today, the third accuser just dies. No known cause. Yeah, they do think we're that stupid, unfortunately. But I think they're going to learn otherwise. And I think they're going to learn otherwise very soon. I really believe that. Now let's take a look at this. Or not. I don't know what is up with my computer. Let me see if I can do it this way. because we are going to get to this. Gosh darn it, it's a good article. And we need to see it. Well, it would help if I did this. Alrighty. Da-da-da-dum. Ya-da-da-dum. I have to sing to myself to amuse me. To amuse me. Oh, let's just put it up here. All right. There we are. See? Works like a charm. Now, for some reason, all these Mercedes, advertisements keep coming up. I wish I could afford a Mercedes. Well, these are all used ones. I was looking for used cars, but, a year old. Anyway, exclusive. Kevin Spacey's father was Nazi child rapist who hated Jews and sexually abused his own son for years, and their mother knew, claims actor's brother. Kevin Spacey's older brother, Randall Fowler, has spoken out about their abusive father exclusively to dailymail.com. Spacey, 58, he's now 60, is facing allegations of trying to seduce actor Anthony Rapp when he was 14 years old and sexually assaulting a relative of Heather Unruh. Fowler, 62, claimed that their father, Thomas Jeffrey Fowler, was a Nazi and would rape Fowler throughout his adolescence, and that his mother knew of the abuse. Fowler said there was so much darkness. All these ads are a little annoying, but, Fowler said there was so much darkness in our home, I'm absolutely miserable. Kevin tried to avoid what was going on. The Rod Stewart impersonator and limo driver claims that he personally didn't have children, so they wouldn't inherit the sexual predator gene from his father. The older brother to the famed actor claimed that Spacey had no feelings and retreated into acting as an escape from the problems at home. Spacey has claimed not to recall the incident with Rapp and has issued an apology of sorts for what would have been inappropriate drunken behavior. The Oscar winner has said that he will need to address other things about his life and announced his choice to now live openly as a gay man. Kevin Spacey was brought up by a Nazi father who raped his brother and brutalized his family so badly that they called him the Creature. His older brother exclusively told the dailymail.com, now as the Oscar winner actor faces allegations of trying to seduce Star Trek's Anthony Rapp when he was just 14 years old and sexually assaulting a relative of former U.S. news anchor Heather Unruh. The truth of his own troubled upbringing has been revealed. Spacey's older brother, Randall Fowler, 62, described the current allegations leveled at his brother as disturbing to dailymail.com, and he acknowledged he had been made aware of them in the early hours of Monday morning. Spacey, 58, claims not to recall the incident with Rapp and has issued an apology of sorts for what would have been inappropriate drunken behavior. In a tweeted statement, he went on to say that the story has encouraged him to address other things about his life, speaking openly for the first time about his homosexuality and choice to now live as a gay man. Fowler has given some insight into what those other things might be, as he admitted he was sexually abused by their father for years and that his mother knew of the abuse. Okay, I just want to stop there for a second, and I want to say, there are a lot of people that have been sexually abused as children, sometimes horrifically, that do not go on to abuse others. It is a choice. It's not a choice of whether you are abused or not. It is not. It is your choice whether you're going to pass it on to the next generation, and you're going to either through your children or by you physically abusing or mentally or sexually abusing another. So I don't subscribe to this. Well, it's an excuse because he was sexually abused as a child. No, it's not an excuse. It gives insight into why it was done. It gives insight, but one does not necessarily lead to the other. I know people that were sexually abused as children very badly who have never abused another person. So anyway, I just wanted to get that in there. It's a sore point with me because I don't like excuses. And I'm not saying that he's giving excuses. This is more, I think, to understand, hopefully, but I just wanted to say that regardless. So let's, all these ads make it so hard to, okay. Kevin Spacey's older brother, Randall Fowler, the brothers pictured together in 2003, has spoken out about their abusive Nazi father exclusively to Daily Mail. So this is the older brother, and yes, he's a Rod Stewart impersonator, and I think it said he was a limo driver, so, well, there you go. Spacey's brother claims that the boy's father, Thomas Jeffrey Fowler, left, raped him for years, and brutalized the family so badly that they called him the Creature. Fowler said that he avoided having children of his own in fear that they would inherit the sexual predator gene that came from their father. I don't think that there is a sexual predator gene. Don't think so. Pictured Spacey, far left, age 9, with his mother, sister Julia, and brother Randall Fowler. So, Fowler is a Rod Stewart impersonator and limo driver in Boise, Idaho. His life is a world away from that of his famous brother, from whom he is estranged. But according to Fowler, along with older sister Julie, he and the notoriously secretive star shared a brutal upbringing in a house of horrors dominated by their ultra-right-wing, perverted, sadistic father. Thomas Jeffrey Fowler was such an abusive figure that his oldest son admitted he avoided having children of his own for fear they would inherit the sexual predator gene. Well, wouldn't that just excuse everyone because they could just say, well, I have the gene? Bull. All right. Now the House of Cards star has admitted that he has loved and had romantic relationships with both men and women and chooses to live as a gay man. And much like Spacey, the character Frank Underwood on Netflix hit political show also kept his sexuality hidden away, having terse with both men and women throughout the series in secret. At the time of the interview, Fowler described his brother as an empty vessel who has never had a real relationship with anyone other than his mother. He said, neither of us had a chance growing up with two such damaged parents. I went through 3 marriages and 40 affairs. Their father, Thomas Jeffrey Fowler, joined the American Nazi Party when Spacey and his brother were just boys. He trimmed his mustache to resemble Adolf Hitler, and he regularly whipped and raped his eldest son, Randall Fowler. Now, Fowler claims his mother, Kathleen, knew about the sexual abuse he suffered, and when he confronted her about it years later, she simply sat in stony silence. Pictured Spacey and his mother, Kathleen, in 1996. So, this is his mother. All right. And this is his older brother. Okay, I'm not going to comment. Oh, I want to. I really want to. I won't. Okay, Fowler, pictured, said he was briefly a scout, but his father made him quit when he discovered that the scoutmaster was Jewish. He said his father would lecture them on white supremacy, claimed that the Holocaust was a lie, and said that Jews ran banks and Hollywood. Fowler described his brother as an empty vessel who had never had a relationship with anyone other than his mother. Fowler said neither of us had a chance growing up with 2 such damaged parents. Pictured the brothers in their adolescence. Yep, there they are. As a boy, Spacey tried to placate his father while Fowler took the brunt of their father's sadistic abuse. Their elder sister, Julie, also endured beatings at her father's hand and ran away when she was 18 years old. In his harrowing account, Fowler recalls that recalled, there was so much darkness in our home, it was beyond belief. It was absolutely miserable. He said Kevin tried to avoid what was going on by wrapping himself in an emotional bubble. He became very sly and smart. He was so determined to try to avoid the whippings that he just minded his P's and Q's until there was nothing inside. He had no feelings. Fowler spoke of rootless childhood during which their father forced his family to move 10 times from Colorado, where he was born in 1956, to New Jersey, where Spacey was born 3 years later, and finally on to Los Angeles. Wherever they were, he and his siblings were trapped, he said. Friends were not permitted in the Fowler household for fear they would see the walls of Thomas Jeffrey Fowler's office lined with pictures of naked men and women and pornography, according to Fowler. Fowler was briefly a scout, but his white supremacist father made him quit when he discovered that the scoutmaster was Jewish. Fowler said Spacey was never allowed to join. And that's his mother when he's receiving his star. Fowler recalled that during his first sexual encounter with his father, he yelled for his mother to come help. He said she came right up and pounded on the door, but Dad had locked it and he told me to keep quiet. All of a sudden, the pounding stopped. Mom had left. That's pretty rough. Fowler, who is a Rod Stewart impersonator and limo driver, said, I constantly threatened my father that if he ever touched my brother, I'd confront my mother with what was going on, and that would destroy the family. In an eerie similar circumstance, similar circumstances, Spacey's character, Frank Underwood, father on the House of Cards, also had ties with white supremacist groups, as the fictional father once went to a Ku Klux Klan meeting. Fowler said their mother, Kathleen, was the breadwinner. She had a steady job as a secretary, while her father, a technical writer by trade, occasionally took freelance work. According to Fowler, his mother was disgusted by his father by 1963 when it transpired that he was abusing a teenage girl who was a relative. The family would be forced to sit through dinnertime rants as Fowler Sr. lectured them on white supremacy, claimed that the Holocaust was a lie, that Jews ran banks in Hollywood, and that something called biocrud would destroy the planet. Okay. He would stand behind Fowler with a riding whip, demanding that he read whatever diatribe he picked and beat him if he refused. Finally, when Fowler was 12 years old, his father summoned him to his bedroom and said he was going to teach him about the birds and the bees. Fowler said he unbuttoned my pants and started playing with me. Horrified, he yelled for his mother. Fowler said she came right up and pounded on the door, but Dad had locked it and told me to keep quiet. All of a sudden, the pounding stopped. Mom had left. I never felt so abandoned. Dad started to perform a sex act on me. That was the beginning of my adolescence. That's horrific. That really is. However, it is horrific, and I do feel sorry, heartfelt sorry for anyone that has to endure such a painful existence. But it is still no excuse for what Spacey has done or allegedly done. Now, this from Kevin Spacey. I have a lot of respect and admiration for Anthony Rapp as an actor. I'm beyond horrified to hear his story. I honestly do not remember the encounter. It would have been over 30 years ago. But if I did behave as he describes, I owe him the sincerest apology for what would have been deeply inappropriate drunken behavior, and I am sorry for the feelings he describes having carried with him all these years. This story has encouraged, and notice that even though he's apologizing, he's blaming it on drunken behavior. See, abusers do that. They apologize, but they're really not apologizing. This story has encouraged me to address other things about my life. I know that there are stories out there about me, and some have been fueled by the fact that I've been so protective of my privacy. As those closest to me know, in my life, I have had relationships with both men and women. I have loved and had romantic encounters with men throughout my life, and I chose now to live as a gay man. I want to deal with this honestly and openly, and that starts with examining my own behavior. So, I don't know why he feels the need to tack that on to his apology to this Anthony Rapp. He says, well, apologize for what would have been inappropriate drunken behavior. Then he tacks all this on about, well, now I'm coming out as a gay man and whatever. So, no, not an apology in my books. Yep, drinking it right out of the bottle. Kombucha, good for what ails you. All right. It really is. Should look into it. All right. So anyway, from there, for the next 4 years, the sex got rougher and the sessions got longer and more frequent, Fowler said. Fowler responded to the abuse by rebelling. His sister ran away from home. Kevin, he recalled, turned into himself and tried not to get into trouble. The actor would try to distract and cheer everybody up with his impersonations of famous people like Johnny Carson. Looking back, Fowler reflected at the time, acting was maybe an escape for his younger brother. For his part, Fowler said, I constantly threatened my father that if he ever touched my brother, I'd confront my mother with what was going on, and it would destroy the family. He sacrificed himself, he said, for the sake of his little brother. Fowler added, he and I were very close because we had so very few friends. The only thing that kept Fowler from ending his life, although he once went as far as putting the barrel of the gun in his mouth, was the realization that without him, there would be nobody there to protect his younger brother. Now, this is the words of the older brother, who is obviously probably trying to make himself look good because his younger brother has had all the spotlight and fame, and he is a Rod Stewart impersonator. So I don't take his words as the gospel truth, that's for sure, because there has to be a reason that they are estranged. However, I do believe that he grew up in a very troubled home. Fowler said in later years, their mother wrote a letter to all 3 children. Fowler said that she did not attempt to apologize or even fully acknowledge what they had suffered at their father's hands. Instead, she said she tried to justify their father's behavior, saying that his own childhood was troubled, and denied that by sharing his political interests, he was trying to foist his beliefs on them. Yep. Denial is not just a river in Egypt. Okay, instead, he said she tried to justify, in 1990, Fowler finally confronted his mother in front of both Spacey and their sister Julie. Their father had been rushed to the hospital and all of his children had assembled. Fowler recalled, our mother just sat in stony silence. Ultimately, Thomas Jeffrey Fowler died at the age of 68, having moved with his wife once more to a suburb of Atlanta. Spacey called his brother to let him know of his passing, and their mother called Fowler on Christmas Day to tell him that he need not come to the funeral. Okay, so Spacey called his brother to let him know of his passing, and their mother called Fowler on Christmas Day to tell him that he need not come to the funeral. Okay. From then on, Spacey's bond with his mother intensified, Fowler said, and their own relationship suffered. When she died on March 19, 2003, Spacey had her cremated under a false name, Ruby Stevens, as he was adamant that the family keep the media in the dark. Her ashes were divided into 2 star-shaped containers with a gold plaque bearing her favorite saying, "Everything will be fine." Today, as Spacey faced 2 allegations of assault and admits there are more stories about him, the truth of that saying is about to be tested. So very, very interesting. And Spacey obviously has a very troubled past and is obviously been involved in probably more things than we realize. But the fact that, the first accuser gets hit by a car and dies, the second accuser mysteriously drops a lawsuit, and a third accuser dies of unknown causes. I think there's something odd with that. And you add to that the fact that he has been a known guest of Epstein, then, you add all that together and what do you get? Well, where there's smoke, there's fire, generally. So let's go on here and see what other trouble we can get into, because I'm pretty sure we can get into some. All right, let's look at this from Charlie Kirk. Facts. California has 12% of America's population. Yet they have 50% of America's homeless population. Who has run California for decades? Nancy Pelosi, Dianne Feinstein, Maxine Waters, and Democrats like Kamala Harris, Eric Swalwell, and Gavin Newsom. We don't need to ask any more questions, do we? We know why they have 50% of America's homeless population is in California when they only have 12% of America's population. That, my friends, is alarming and very telling. And speaking of waters, speaking of, dirty waters, nasty waters, brackish water. Blech. Representative Waters charged on 3 counts. Oh, wait. This is from 10/10. So why did this just pop up now? Never mind. That's not good news because it's like 9 years ago. I'm not sure why that popped up on my feed. I don't know. But I better pay closer attention to dates from now on so that I don't look foolish. All right, now let's look at this because this needs to be looked at as well. Yes, it does. Oh, come on, man. Gonna have to do this again. I'm keeping my little Sammy cursor busy tonight while he's off sleeping somewhere, being good. Not like this one. Okay, hang on. We're getting there. No, really, we are. All right. Clinton, Obama, silent on Ed Buck donations after Dem megadonors arrest. Yeah. Now, it's been a long time since we looked at Ed Buck. Remember, there was a man that died, a black man that died in his at his home, and well, it's interesting because he's friends with little Adam Schiff and a whole bunch of people. Yeah, that we're also interested in, not because we're interested in them, just because we're interested in them meeting with justice. All right, Hillary Clinton and Barack Obama still aren't saying what they will do with money they received from Democratic megadonor Ed Buck, even after he was charged Tuesday with running a drug house where 2 men died of overdoses, and months after other top Democrats have tossed aside Buck's contributions. Buck, 65, has donated more than $500,000 to a range of Democratic groups and politicians, including tens of thousands of dollars to California candidates such as Governor Gavin Newsom. Buck is also well known in the LGBTQ political circles. He came under investigation in January after 55-year-old Timothy Dean was found dead of an accidental methamphetamine overdose in his apartment. It was the second such death in 2 years following the July 2017 teen death of Jamel Moore, 26. And that is who we looked at originally way back when Q was just first on the scene. The January episode prompted many Democrats to cut ties with Buck. The Democratic Congressional Campaign Committee, DCCC, told Fox News at the time it was deeply disturbed by Buck's alleged conduct and quickly donated his thousands of dollars of contributions to the NALEO Education Fund. Did they really? I don't know. In 2010, Ed Buck makes a campaign appearance for Meg Whitman, not shown, then a Republican candidate for a governor of California in Los Angeles. Other politicians also distanced themselves from Buck and vowed to get rid of his campaign contributions. I am deeply disturbed by the latest revelations of a second death by overdose at the home of Ed Buck. California Democrat Rep. Ted Lieu said in January, announcing plans to donate more than $18,000 in contributions to civil rights charities. I received a campaign contribution from Ed Buck and have donated the amount I received to a local charity, the Kenneth Young Center to Combat Drug Addiction. Representative Raha, not sure how to pronounce that last name, sorry. Raha K is her last name, starts with K. Krishna Murthy, I don't know, of Illinois also said earlier this year. But former Secretary of State Hillary Clinton and former President Barack Obama remained quiet on the subject in January, and their spokespeople on Wednesday didn't respond to Fox News' request for comment on what they would do with their donations from Buck. They're too desperate for money. You ever think that Hillary Clinton's going to turn loose of $1? No. She will never turn loose of $1. You kidding me? She raped and pillaged Haiti. She trafficked their children. The woman has absolutely not a speck of decency at all in her body. I don't know. It seems like she doesn't even have what makes us human in her. Really. I've never seen anything like Hillary Clinton. Really, I haven't. So anyway, they've been silent, and their spokesperson on Wednesday didn't respond to Fox News' request for comment on what they would do with their donations from Buck. Buck donated at least $1,500 to Obama and $2,950 to Clinton, according to federal records. Obama has recently waded into the 2020 presidential race and met this week with youth climate activist Greta Thunberg. Oh, that child has problems. I'm sorry, but she is being used and abused by this Green New Deal, this climate change agenda, big time. That girl looks, well, I won't say what I was going to say. I was going to say demonized, actually. So even as Clinton and Obama stayed silent, the Los Angeles County Democratic Party praised Buck's arrest on Wednesday and said progressive activists deserved credit. For our community, a predator with a Jekyll and Hyde personality is now off the streets, the LACDP said, and it's due to the ongoing support and pressure from many activists and community groups, including Black Lives Matter, Jasmine Canick, and more. The LACDP told Fox News that they had not received money from Buck and urged other Democrats to be conscientious on the matter. The LA Dems have not received money from Ed Buck in my tenure, LACPD Chair Mac J. Gonzalez said in an email. Outside our county party, I would strongly encourage Democrats to be conscientious of the contributions they receive. But don't you kid yourself. They knew what was going on with this man. They knew. And this is a January 8th photo of the building housing the apartment of Ed Buck in West Hollywood, California. Doesn't look too prestigious to me. Doesn't look like anywhere I'd like to live. I'm just saying. I mean, I'm sure there are worse places to live, but it doesn't even have central air. Look at this. Little, window air conditioner units. Not the type of building that you would expect somebody that donated $500,000 would live in. I'm just saying. But of course there, I guess, things are so expensive. Probably that apartment's worth, I don't know how much. Meanwhile, a black member of Congress on Wednesday called it incomprehensible that the wealthy gay activist had skirted punishment for so long. Representative Karen Bass on Wednesday specifically called Buck a predator and said authorities let him roam free even after 2 people died at his house. Yeah, 1, that's an accident. 2, That's homicide. Come on. I mean, what are the chances? And now a third? Right. Prosecutors say Buck used his position of power to manipulate male victims into participating in sexual fetishes that involved injecting them with meth. In a motion Wednesday, prosecutors said Buck should be held on $4 million bail because he is a violent, dangerous sexual predator who offered drugs, money, and shelter to many addicted and homeless men in exchange for participating in sexual fetishes, including a fetish that involved administering dangerous doses of drugs. Buck had no regard for human life, the motion said. Now, I wonder if this was videotaped. Was he selling these tapes? I don't know. I'm just saying that this man is, I'm sure, making money from his sexual fetish. And this is tied in to, you know, what went on in Little St. James. It is. It's got to be. I'd bet, well, if I was a betting woman, I'd bet. All right. Buck had no regard for human life. Well, that's quite obvious. Messages to Buck's attorney, Seymour Amster, were not returned. Well, of course not. What could the attorney say? Buck's attorney had said Dean came to Buck's home under the influence and didn't ingest any drugs while there. Right. And we believe that, don't we? Don't we? None of us believe that. In their bail motion, however, prosecutors specifically blamed Buck's actions for the 2 deaths, and they alleged he personally gave a dangerous dose of methamphetamines to a man who survived an overdose earlier this month. On September 11th, the man returned, and Buck injected him with 2 more dangerous doses, refused to help him, and thwarted his efforts to get help until the man fled the apartment and called 911 from a gas station, prosecutors alleged. His deathly behavior has not stopped, prosecutors contended. Now, what I want to know about this guy that came to his, I'm sure he was paying these men for sex, you know, and they came and probably didn't realize that he was into, you know, as kinky of sex as he was. That's my guess. But anyway, if this man barely survived an overdose the first time, why the heck did he go back? Because Buck injected him with 2 more dangerous doses and refused to help him. Wouldn't let him, you know, tried to thwart him from getting help. Unbelievable. Buck's predatory acts and willful disregard for human life must be stopped before another life is lost, their motion read. So, yeah, I bet you he's got a good chance of, yeah, he'll probably be suicided. I'm just saying. He knows a lot about a lot of people. And to get a deal, he'll squeal. Most do. So, yeah, I would predict there's death in his future. I'm just saying, I don't wish that on anyone, but the chances of him staying alive and going through the court proceedings and naming names, and no, that's not going to happen. No, it isn't. So, anyway, there you go. There's that. There's always more in the swamp, isn't there? Always more. Now, okay, this is one of those things that once you see, you can't unsee it. All right? Now, it's nothing bloody. It's nothing, with animals or children being hurt or anything like that. I wouldn't do that. But I'm ashamed to say it's the Prime Minister of Canada. And he's in blackface. Although he claims it's brown face. Like that makes a difference. So let's just take a boo, shall we? Yeah, this from the CBC Canada. What is with this tonight? My gosh, just does not want to go anywhere. And here we go back to here. Yes, there's more than one way. All right. Oh, I bow my head in shame. Trudeau says he is deeply sorry he appeared in brownface at school gala in 2001. Trudeau admits to second incident where he donned makeup and sang Day-O in high school talent show. Oh, yeah. So, yeah, this isn't the first time he's donned brown face. No. He donned makeup and sang Day-O in the high school talent show. He was the son of a prime minister. One would think that his father and mother would have said something to him, but no, they didn't. And now we're stuck with him. Well, let's just play this, shall we?
That diversity is Canada's strength. Justin Trudeau in a turban and robe, dark makeup on his face, neck, and hands.
There he is.
It's certainly not how Trudeau wants to be seen in an election campaign.
Dressed up in an Aladdin costume and put makeup on. I shouldn't have done that. I should have known better, but I didn't, and I'm really sorry.
Time magazine published the picture,
Sure
which was taken at an Arabian Nights themed event at the Vancouver private school where Trudeau taught in 2001. It forced Trudeau to hold an emergency news conference aboard his plane at the Halifax airport to try to explain himself.
Is that the only time in your life you've ever done something like that?
When I was in high school, I dressed up at a talent show and sang Dale with makeup on. I'm going to be asking Canadians to forgive me for what I did. I shouldn't have done that. I take responsibility.
Now, I just want to say something. I didn't realize it was going to stop. Now, first of all, when it says he taught at this school, I think he was a substitute drama teacher, if I'm not mistaken. He was a drama teacher anyway. That is one of the jobs he's held, as well as a ski instructor, which there's nothing wrong with either of those jobs at all, but I wouldn't think that it prepares you to be a prime minister. But, what do I know? Anyway, and so here he has done it 2 times, and he's admitting it because he's caught. All right, and he's apologizing. All right, good. Is he apologizing because he's sorry? Probably not, but we don't know his heart. But you see all those reporters there? Yeah, they're all paid. They're all paid by Trudeau to say what he wants them to say. They get grants and so forth. Their organizations, the organizations that they work for, the companies that they work for, the media companies that they work for, get grants from the government. Huge grants from the government. But yeah, they have to comply with the acceptable narrative. So let's just go on here. Hopefully it will go on from where it was. If not, yes.
Dressed up at a talent show and sang Dale with makeup on. I take responsibility for my decision to do that. I shouldn't have done it. I should have known better. It was something that I didn't think was racist at the time, but now I recognize it was something racist to do, and I am deeply sorry.
And why should you be allowed to stay?
I'm going to be asking Canadians to forgive me for what I did. I shouldn't have done that. I take responsibility for it. It was a dumb thing to do. I'm disappointed in myself. I'm pissed off at myself for having done it. I wish I hadn't done it, but I did it, and I apologize for it. I'm pissed off at myself, obviously. I'm disappointed in myself, and I'm apologizing to Canadians.
What does taking responsibility mean? What is the consequence for you? For a lot of your candidates, this would be at least calls for resignation.
This would be calls for important conversations with all those candidates and real taking stock in the path forward. And I'm having conversations with my colleagues, with fellow candidates, and I'm going to be continuing to having conversations with Canadians about this and about many other things that we're hoping to work together on positively.
Was this photo racist in your opinion?
Yes. Yes, it was. I didn't consider it a racist action at the time, but now we know better, and this was something that was unacceptable, and yes, racist. I think it's well known that communities and people who live with intersectionalities and face discrimination, the likes of which I have never personally had to experience, is a significant thing that is very hurtful, and that's why I am so deeply disappointed in myself.
To be careful, explain this to your children.
I'm going to have a conversation with them tomorrow morning before they go to school about taking responsibility for mistakes.
And I think that's enough of that. But let me remind you that those reporters, I'm sure that Trudeau knew what they were going to ask before they asked, because really they did not ask any real hardball questions, and they wouldn't, because they'd lose their grants. So anyway, and there's a little bit more that's interesting about this. I don't think that we need to go on and read through this, but this is actually when he was a teacher in Vancouver. He attended a gala. The theme was Arabian Nights. I dressed up in an Aladdin costume and put makeup on. I shouldn't have done that. Now, okay, I mean, he can call that brown face because he's dressing up like Arabian Nights, but in the high school one, yeah, he's singing Day-O dressed in like with black makeup on. He can't say a brown face. No, he can't. Come on. And all right, so he did that and he's apologized. But let's just say something surfaced of Donald Trump doing something like that. What would happen? Really, what would happen the world over? You and I both know what would happen. Yes, we do. And so there's that. And also, I wanted to point out this. He's a little handsy with this woman, isn't he? He's got his make-upped hands right on her chest there. I don't know. I guess these are his fellow teachers there. Who knows? Let me see. And it's not the only incident. Trudeau admitted, asked if he should resign his position as Liberal leader based on both incidents. Trudeau made the case that incidents like this should be treated on a case-by-case basis. Well, of course they should. There are people who make mistakes in this life, and you make decisions based on what they actually do, what they did, and on a case-by-case basis. I deeply regret that I did that. I should have known better, but I didn't. You think that would fly for President Trump? I don't. I think there would be, oh my gosh, I can't even, could you imagine? They would probably descend on the White House with pitchforks and, what do you call that? Pitchforks and torches. For real. But, okay, let's go back because I got something else to show you here. Let's look. Well, that's not it. Here we go. Now, let's think about this for a minute. Just think really hard about this for a second. Tell us everything we need to know about Justin Trudeau. Now, this from Maple Sugar. What did he promise the Muslim Brotherhood for their speedy absolution? Now, don't you think if, let's just say it was Donald Trump, could you imagine the Muslim Brotherhood saying, it's okay, it's all right, stop, don't worry about it, you apologized? Well, Maple Sugar is responding to Canada Buster, who says not one Muslim group interviewed tonight has called for Trudeau to resign. Not one. So, again, we ask, what did he promise the Muslim Brotherhood for them to give such speedy absolution? I think that's a reasonable question to ask, don't you? I do. All right. Now, what time is it? I think we have a little bit more time here, so let's Actually, that went a little bit faster than I had thought. I want to make sure I haven't missed anything that I had intended to get to. And we can go on and cover a couple more things. You know why? Because we can. Why else? Now, let me see here. Oh yes, I wanted to hit on this because this is very interesting. And this is from 2013, but it was just brought to my attention. Stranger in a Strange Land. And this says vaccinated kids have 2 to 5 times more diseases than ones who are not. I don't want to say that word too often because that is something they are really cracking down on. You can't say anything about, you know, the little stuff that they stick in kids' arms. All right. So direct comparison, KIGGS study and vaccine injury info survey, September 2011. And it shows that, so these are the children that have been given needles. We'll just call them needles. And these are the kids that haven't. And they have less allergies, less asthma and chronic bronchitis, less neurodermatitis, less herpes, less, absolutely next to no, 0.2, otis media, which I assume has something to do with the middle ear, and hay fever, way less, hyperactivity, way less, scoliosis, way less. Wow, like really way less. Epilepsy, seizures, only 0.3. Migraines, not a huge difference, but definitely less. And thyroid disease, well, the ones that didn't receive any needles, they have 0.1, and the others have 1.7, and diabetes, both is negligible. But look at this for allergies. Wow, 22.9% compared to 10.6%. So, yeah, significant. Look at this. Asthma, chronic bronchitis, 18% compared to 2.4%. I mean, these are huge differences here. This, 12% compared to 0.2% of herpes. This is, now, I'm not surprised by this at all. Like, not at all, because this is what I believe. I firmly believe this. And I don't think that if your child has not received a needle, how can they put in danger? I mean, if all the other children have received needles, how can they endanger any of those children? It doesn't even make sense. Oh, you can't bring your child to school because they're going to endanger students. Well, how are they going to? The only people that they'll endanger is other kids that haven't had a needle, right? Yeah. There's an agenda there, a big time agenda. And, we know, but they still try to foist it upon us. And because a lot more people are waking up, they're making it mandatory. Yeah, isn't that lovely of them? So let's go back here and see. Oh, yes, let's look at this too. Yeah. Mosquitoes. Gene hacking mosquitoes to be infertile backfired spectacularly. Yeah, sometimes. Blah, blah, blah. On its surface, the plan was simple. Gene hack mosquitoes so their offspring immediately die, mix them with disease-spreading bugs in the wild, and watch the population drop off. What could go wrong? Unfortunately, that just didn't pan out. The genetically altered mosquitoes did mix with the wild population, and for a brief period, the number of mosquitoes in Jacobino, Brazil, did plummet, according to research published in Nature Scientific Reports last week. But 18 months later, the population bounced right back up, New Atlas reports, and even worse. The new genetic hybrids may be even more resilient to future attempts to quell their numbers. Lovely. Yeah, remember the killer bees? What could go wrong? Yeah. I don't know. Some of these people, they're not too bright. I mean, and the thing is, they say these things, and the general public's going, no, don't do it. Like, they have to be doing this on purpose, really. Because even the general public is saying, this isn't going to end well. But mosquitoes capable of transmitting diseases like Zika, dengue, and malaria are spreading farther than ever, thanks to global climate change. Yeah, right. To combat them, scientists have sometimes tried to alter the bug's genetics so they couldn't reproduce. Okay. The claim was that the genes from the release strain would not get into the general population because offspring would die. Yale researcher Jeffrey Powell, one of the researchers behind the new paper, told New Atlas that obviously was not what happened. Yes, well, it is obvious, isn't it? Yeah, I think it was probably obvious from the beginning that it's not a good idea. But you probably didn't listen, did you? No. Always trying to play God. Oh, and look at that, playing God. In Brazil, the wild mosquitoes mated with the gene-hacked population and created a new sort of genetic hybrid that's more robust than the wild bugs were. While the new variant isn't inherently dangerous, or at least not additionally so, the scientists believe the scientists behind the project say they don't fully understand how things will change for future generations. Well, if you didn't fully understand how things would change for future generations of mosquitoes after you gene hacked them and mixed them in with the natural population, why did you do it? Really? Oh my. So it is the unanticipated outcome that is concerning, Powell told New Atlas. It's always the unanticipated outcome that's concerning. Don't you think? Just saying. I'm just saying. Climate change, yeah, that's what's causing it all. Right. Okay, well, there's that. All right, well, can you handle one more? Sure we can, Michelle. I knew it. You guys are hardy. Now, I can't remember what this is, so let's take a look at it, and it might be just absolutely ridiculous. I don't know. I can't remember. Oh, yes, my friend Heather in Houston sent this to me, and, well, I'm partial to it. Auckland ad man hires professional clown for redundancy meeting. Now, could you imagine you're being called in because you're being laid off or your job's being made redundant and you hire a clown to come with you? I like this guy. I like him a lot. Now, the image sent into the Herald shows the meeting taking place. The face of the staffer has been blurred to protect his identity. So here he is, and there's the clown making little balloon animals while he's being fired or laid off or made redundant. Yeah. A Kiwi ad man has chosen an unusual support person to accompany him to a redundancy meeting. In lieu of the usual suspects of a friend, colleague, or family member, the member of the creative team at FCB hired a professional clown to attend the meeting with him. An image sent to the Herald overnight shows the staffer sitting alongside his support clown while he talks to the individuals running the media. Support clowns. I hope it catches on. I'm terrified of clowns, really. I am. But I think support clowns. Why not? Why not? In the strange world of support creatures, this adds another colorful addition to a quirky crew that already includes hedgehogs, peacocks, and goats, and ponies, and all sorts of other things. The Herald understands that the clown blew up balloons and folded them into a series of animals throughout the meeting. Well, he made himself useful. He didn't just sit there. It's further understood that the clown mimed crying when the redundancy paperwork was handed over to the staffer. Well, what else would he do? That's what clowns do. They mime. Make little balloon animals. I think he was just trying to earn his pay. A spokesperson for FCB told the Herald the agency has a policy of not commenting on individual employment matters out of respect for those involved. In an email titled Coulrophobia, the fear of clowns, the spokesperson did, however, say it was up there among the weirdest stories she had ever been contacted about. The latest restructure at FCB follows on from job cuts at the agency after the loss of Vodafone ad account. It's understood the staffer has, however, landed on his feet since his odd meeting at FCB, getting a new job at DDB along with his creative partner, not the clown. They are set to start their roles next week upon returning from their birth country, Australia. Well, you know what? I think he probably got a new job because people looked at that and said, "That's awesome, man. We want him for our company." Yeah. Leave the clown at home, but we want you. Clowns. DDB did not comment on the new hires, but confirmed it was aware of some balloon-related activity that clowns truly terrify them. Yes, me too, DDB. Me too. No clowns for me, but, you know, if I had someone that around me that needed a support clown, I would be supportive. I would be supportive of that support clown. I would. I think people everywhere should support clowns. That's just my 2 cents. Well, it's probably not even worth 2 cents anymore because of inflation, but it's probably worth a good penny and a half. All right. Well, that is going to be it for tonight, and I hope you guys stay well, stay blessed, and keep seeking truth. I had to think about that. Yes, keep seeking truth. And on behalf of support clowns everywhere, I wish you a good night. I will see you tomorrow. Same bat channel, same bat time. Good night.